Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Up Your Alley. It's a podcast with two best friends. That's me. My name is Taylor Edgar, and with me, as always, is my best friend, Jake Baggett. Say hi, Jake.
Hey, buddy.
It's a show where we recommend things to each other, and then we come back the next week to talk about them and rate them on a scale of 1 to 3, depending on how much the recommendation is up the other person's individual alley. Today, we are going to be getting into Jake's recommendation for me, which was an episode of the Chris Gethard show, The Enchanted Pumice.
Yeah, Chris Gethard presents.
Chris Gethard presents. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's Chris Gethard, comedian, actor, Chris Gethard, writer. His public access show that he hands off to one of his friends and comedy companions. Mm-hmm. Very interesting idea for his show. Specifically, the episode, I think it was 202 or something like that, with Mary Houlihan doing The Enchanted Pumice. So we'll get into that. Also, it's a Christmas miracle. Ben Affleck's back for All Affleck Christmas. We will be discussing the film that I will defend should be in the pantheon of yearly Christmas watches, along with your Die Hards, your Home Alones, your Elves.
It's really weird that
it's not talked about.
I won't get into it, but
it's not talked about, and that's
so
weird.
Christmas themed.
It's such a good movie.
Way more than Die Hard.
That's the movie Reindeer Games, and we will be talking about Reindeer Games. Be sure, if you're watching on YouTube, to subscribe and like the video. If you're listening on whatever podcast platform you're listening to, be sure to rate the show 5 stars, leave us a review, and follow us on Spotify. And we'll get into it right now. Last episode of the year, or last content episode. Next week, we'll be doing a little wrap-up, and maybe a look forward, or maybe we won't. We'll play it by ear. We might save that for the new year.
Okay.
I was listening back to our episode from this January, and I told you that I was listening back to it, learned something new that I didn't know about. Yeah.
Uh-huh. It was, go ahead.
So how long did you know this thing?
So it was my brother that told me and it was just a time when, shucks, I must have been a teenager. So like 13, 14 maybe.
Okay, so I'm a man in my mid-30s.
Yeah.
I've been playing the Sonic the Hedgehog games since I was a child. I remember getting, on Christmas, they had a Sega Genesis that came with 2 controllers, and it came with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I was a little brother, so I would play, starting in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, you could control Tails. It was like one of the first games that had simultaneous co-op, like Little Brother mode.
Yep.
And play as Tails. I loved
great
Tails.
playing as Tails.
So long. Love Tails.
I had little brother syndrome. I was a little brother as well.
Yeah.
And so I played as Tails all the time, and Tails is one of my favorite characters.
Yes.
I think he is adorable.
So Sonic the Hedgehog makes sense because Sonic is something that goes fast, a sonic boom.
Yeah.
And that's where his name comes from.
Tails.
I thought Tails' name just came from the fact that he has multiple tails.
Yeah. Made
sense to me. Did not think about his actual name being Miles Prower.
Yeah.
Which is a pun for miles per hour.
Yeah.
I just found this out today.
Miles Prower.
And I'm such a fan of puns.
I used to call him Miles Powers. I thought that was his name because I can't read so good.
No.
And so my brother was like, Powers.
And also,
like,
Prower. Prower's not really a common last name.
Yeah.
Powers
so
is
when he was
more
like Miles Prower, I was like, that's great.
God damn it. I was so excited to hear this. And I learned because in the last year's episode, we were talking about Sonic the Hedgehog in relation to, I think, the Mario Brothers games.
Yeah.
And you said, oh, yeah, and Miles per hour. And I was just like, did he say miles per hour? And I'm like, holy shit, he said that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed by myself that sometimes it's kind of nice that you can still come across things in your middle age. So you're just like, huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking clever. So,
I love that because I love that Tails is his nickname.
Right.
Because Sonic looked at him and he's like, you got Tails. And he was like, that's what I'm going to call
What about this other guy that's punching stuff? Knuckles?
Yeah. Knuckles' name is Knuckles.
Yeah. He doesn't have a pun name.
It's just Knuckles.
So I know, and Tails and Knuckles came out around the same time, so I thought, oh, Tails, Knuckles, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I never even thought miles per hour. Mm-hmm. God, now that I'm disappointed in myself.
Yep.
All right.
He's great.
Yes. Thank you for helping me find that out.
Yeah, of course,
anytime.
anytime.
Jesus, I felt like a dum-dum.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that was a fun episode, though. We'll get into what we talked about. Some of the things we talked about still have not been released, and I think part of that was we did not anticipate a writer's strike. That lasted for like 5 months.
Oh, okay.
Kind of pushing things back.
So a couple of movies.
Movies and TV shows and stuff that's just not come out yet. But we'll get into that another time. Couple things up top. Sadly, we talked about a couple weeks ago the Max Payne games and Jake's love for Max Payne and all of Sam Lake's video games. Actor James McCaffrey, who did the voice of Max Payne, passed away. We just found that out today.
Just today, we find that out.
65 years old, had cancer.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
We got one final fantastic performance from him in Alan Wake 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that his performance as Max Payne is going to go down as one of video games' best performances.
It's just going to be talked about.
When video games is accepted as on the level as cinema, as art, they're going to deconstruct and analyze how great a performance James McCaffrey done.
I think the Game Awards is going to help with that because they do have that category now of game performances.
Yeah.
And there are some people like Nolan North that did all the Uncharted games.
I mean,
and
you
he's
got
done
people
a bunch
like
of other
Nolan
stuff.
North and that are just staples
for
it. And like James McCaffrey is a staple just because of this one character.
Yes.
That he's done.
That he only did the
for
voice for
20 years. And
because Sam Lake did most of the...
Sam Lake is literally the face of the company when it comes to its breakout hit. But it wouldn't be that game without the voice of James McCaffrey, without the acting that he put into it.
Right. As someone that only played Max Payne 1 for the show, I talked about it in that episode. You can go back and listen to that too. He's fantastic. He sells it, and it's so good.
He's melancholy and just swarmy. Yeah. And I don't think if they ever recast Max Payne, it's going to pale in comparison.
It's Mark Wahlberg.
He gave him a Boston accent.
He's not a great actor. He can only do so much.
He can be a great actor. That's the craziest part of it.
In what? The Fighter?
The Departed.
Oh, but still, he wasn't a stretch for him. He was a dickhead from Boston.
When he could do it, he'll do it.
Yeah, also that time he assaulted that guy. And speaking of actors that play video game characters, Christopher Judge, who played Kratos, he's back in the God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC. Have you played that at all?
I haven't even played the sequel. I haven't even beaten the first one, brother.
So I will say this.
I've played 2 hours into something that I found out was the DLC.
For what?
I had to go back to the first God of War.
Oh.
So I was like, that was a lot of wasted time.
So this DLC, they put it out for free. They announced it at the Game Awards. And they built a mini roguelike game just into not Assassin's Creed, because that's a Valhalla too. I'm sick of it. So I'm Norse stuff. Side tangent. We're done. Yeah. We're done with this.
I've been done.
I know
brother.
You are. So video that I'm working on where I talk about the God of War games.
Greek mythology, so much cooler.
I agree with you. And we talked about my thing for this, and we'll work on it. But so I think it really started with Thor. When Thor came out and Thor hit, Marvel's Thor.
Yeah.
So that was 2009? Thor came out?
It became an internet thing around then. Even before then, I had friends that were talking about being Viking religious type.
So when Thor came out, and then Thor 2 kind of brought in, they went to Jotunheim in the first Thor movie and saw the frost giants and stuff like that. So it got more into the zeitgeist. And then it just kind of stepped up. And then there was Thor Ragnarok. And then there was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And then there was God of War going to the Norse thing. And then there was God of War Ragnarok. And now there's God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. And there was Thor Ragnarok. We're done. I think this well is dry. But as an end cap to Norse mythology themed media, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, it's fantastic. It's so much fun.
Big fan of it, are you?
So spoilers, I guess not really spoilers, because the end of it, you fight. It's a roguelike, sort of just like Hades, in that you're going through and you can pick different paths. You have the 3 weapons that Kratos has: the blades, the axe, and the spear. And you pick one of those, and then you get perks, boosts, and you can only get a certain amount of runic attacks, steadily increasing difficulty in enemies. And if you die, you just go right back to the beginning, but you can get experience that carries over. So it is just a little roguelike. Yeah. I think it's a roguelite when they do it like that, where it's a little small thing.
I watched the whole video on why it's called that, and I still have no clue.
Yeah, I'm not there.
The differences.
But it's for a free DLC. Great. Probably spent about 6 hours on it. Just a little nice bookend to that story. And fantastic. Like, Chris Judge does a great job playing Kratos. I had forgotten because I haven't played God of War Ragnarok since I got the Platinum Trophy last year. I've forgotten how fun it is to be good at that game. Like, I had to shake the dust off a little bit, but then once you get back into the fighting style of that game, I think it's something that I missed from a lot of games that I played this year. Because I will say, I love Tears of the Kingdom, and once you get good at that game, it's very satisfying, but the combat is a lot more repetitive than the God of War games, because you can switch out between weapons quickly and stuff like that, and it's just, I guess that style of parry and dodge and everything like that, it's so much fun to be good at that game, and I really missed it, and they just gave this little DLC, and then, I kind of went off on a tangent of talking about God of War for a little bit.
Got you back into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what that game's there for, the little DLC to be like, hey, remember this? You have this game laying around, and here's a free DLC for it.
Yeah, it was really cool that they made it free.
Yeah. And then, speaking of DLC and stuff, the guys from Zelda have been out on interviews on Polygon and IGN lately.
Yeah.
And everyone's hounding them, like, where's our... I think they were in the States for the Game Awards. And people were hounding them, kind of like, just asking, when's the DLC for Tears of the Kingdom coming out?
Yeah.
And from every sign, nothing. They're kind of just like, no, we've completed the game.
Yeah.
We did everything we wanted to do.
I heard from the interviews that they were done with this style of Zelda game. They're like, we're going to go and explore other options for a new Zelda.
Right, which is a great way to do that as well, where Zelda's, I think, more so than any other franchise, Zelda has varied in gameplay, look, and the story's kind of the same in every one of them, but...
A big thing that came out of the interviews that I enjoyed was how much the producers were like, we don't really think about the timeline that much for the Zelda games.
It's just fun.
And I'm like, that's nice to hear.
It's just like Friday the 13th or any of those where they're just like, it doesn't super matter, but the
games explore their mechanics a lot. That's what they do. It's an adventure game more than it is a platforming game.
Exactly.
Where it's more you think about the puzzle of it than you do the skill of it, like the input reflex skill, like Mario.
Right.
Mario 64 explored verticality in a 3D space as a platformer, where Zelda Ocarina of Time did it as a puzzle platformer.
Oh, that's good. That's a good point.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's where I think Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask reminds me a lot of Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom, where you have a game where they're exploring the mechanics and then they basically master it for the second one and just explore many different options for it. And then they're like, all right, we did it. That's great.
And they're kind of washing their hands of it. Like, I think someone asked them, and it was like, oh, are you going to have Ultra Hand in the next game? And they're like, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're like, we've done what we needed. We feel like we completed what we've done. We've completed the goal of what we set out for. And now we want to explore new options.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, where they're just like, what other things can we do to explore this type of character and world with the theming of adventure being in every single one of them.
Yeah. And, well, kind of along that vein, since I had told you off the pod that I changed the internet provider out here.
Yeah.
Very happy with it now. Might be a sponsor. I'm not going to give them a plug until they sponsor us. And I downloaded a whole bunch of games that now that I can stream on or play online and not be super laggy, I downloaded Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people play that.
Yeah.
I got shot quickly and often by people that are not nice on the voice chat.
Yeah.
They will shoot you, and then they will tell you how they shot you and how much they shot you and how you're not good at this game. It seems like a pretty toxic environment.
It's funny because I built my computer, right? And so my roommates got me playing games with his online friends because he's got a nice computer and stuff.
Nice.
And my experience has been great. We've played Lethal Company together, and that's a game where you just go into spooky places and try and find valuable stuff to sell. But the fun of that game is it has proximity chat. So
when you get close to them,
you'll lose. You won't be able to hear them when you get further away from them. So, and it was just a lot of fun. Some people are like getting on you because they're like, no, we need more stuff because we have to reach the quota, but we're all just laughing, having fun. And I think that's the environment that you need to be in, is
for sure
playing games with me so that we just have fun online instead of relying on strangers from the internet to be cordial.
Strangers on the internet are mean people. But I also downloaded Fortnite because Fortnite has changed a lot. There's a streamer that I like on YouTube and Twitch, a guy named Copycat. And at one point, he was the #1 ranked Guitar Hero player in the world.
Yeah.
And Fortnite has put in basically like a Guitar Hero-like game.
Yeah.
Where it's
Fortnite
like the
Festival.
Yeah. So I was playing that because I love the Rock Band games and the Guitar Hero games. I wanted to buy them, but apparently everyone else wants to buy them too. So like a whole set of Rock Band for PlayStation 4 is like...
There's a company that's working on making another...
Well, I think it's going to be Fortnite. I think they're going to put a...
No.
Like,
it's a third-party company.
Really?
I've seen prototype photos of it. I can't remember the name of it, but...
I love those games. I think
they're going to be... It looks a lot like a nice Guitar Hero controller, but it's foldable so that you can transport it better.
That's kind of fun.
It's kind of exciting. I really want it.
When Rock Band put out the drum set, that was a game changer. And I remember in my early 20s...
Rock Band was amazing.
I lived my early 20s with a friend of ours who was a drummer, and he got so pissed off when I set that up because he said it's bullshit. It's not like real drumming, and I could just be better at drums than him on a video game. And that was fun. But also in Fortnite, they have the Rocket League racing is part of it now, too. Mm-hmm. And one thing that they put in was a battle royale where there's no building component. Mm-hmm. And there's Lego stuff, too. But the battle royale in Fortnite, I was doing good at. And I sent Jake a picture earlier today. I got #1.
Yeah.
Victory Royale.
I don't know if I want to break your heart, buddy.
Is it easy to do that?
The first one, they give you bots. You play against bots.
No. It wasn't the first time I played. I was playing against other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure?
I heard them. Which is part of the reason why I was happy that I did against... in Call of Duty, when people were being mean to me, I felt bad. In Fortnite, I didn't have my microphone, but other people you could hear other people talking.
Yeah.
And got behind someone, shot him in the head with my shotgun a whole bunch of times. They died, and I was like, ha! And I just heard what sounded like a child just go, oh no!
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh!
Yeah.
I'm the bad person.
That's my favorite. I play with my 5-year-old niece.
Oh, really?
And she's pretty good at it.
Yeah, we've played Fall Guys with your nephew before, too.
Yes.
It's fun.
Oh, my gosh. Watching him win Fall Guys.
Yeah.
He got a crown one time.
Nice.
And it was intense because we're laughing, having fun, and we can't believe that he gets to the final thing, and it was the hexagon game.
I hate
where
hexagon.
you step on those.
Yeah.
And then they disappear.
Yeah.
And you just have to be the last one standing. And I'm just being quiet. I'm just
don't want to jinx him.
Yeah, I'm just going, just go slow. You don't have to go fast.
Take your time, buddy.
Take your time. Just take your time. Everybody else is going fast. And he's just dead silent on his side until we win. And we're both, yes! Yeah!
I love little kid focus where they're just like getting to like full on like Eye of the Tiger mode.
Man, playing games with people makes any game 10 times better.
Oh, 100%.
No matter what it is.
100%.
So, good. I'm glad that you got good internet.
Yeah.
We'll try and find some games to play.
Absolutely. All right. Let's take a brief second to hear from this week's sponsor, and then we will get into our recommendations for the week. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in the world and is going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible, and that's important because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially if you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with your therapist, and there's a link in our description. It's betterhelp.com/Allie. That's betterhelp.com/Allie. Clicking that link helps you support this channel and also get you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist to see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't fit in with your first therapist, and that's common, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without the stress of insurance or who's in your network or anything like that. I'm a big proponent of therapy, and anybody that knows me can attest to the difference that it's made in my life the past couple years, and I recommend this program to anybody. So if you're struggling, please consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/alley. That's betterhelp.com/alley for 10% off your first month. And we want to thank BetterHelp for supporting our podcast. All right, let's get into this. First up, we're going to go with Jake's recommendation for me. Oh, we didn't go over the scores earlier. I'm winning by 1 point. I've got 55 points. Jake has 54 points. We might reset in the new year. We might just keep this running. I think it's fun being a little neck and neck.
Points. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is episode 203. I misspoke earlier of Chris Gethard Presents. Comedian Chris Gethard. People will know from... I don't know how most people know him. If you're a comedy fan, you know Chris Gethard.
He does great stand-up. He's got a podcast called Beautiful Anonymous that's really good. A random person calls this number, and then they have a conversation on the podcast, and it's usually pretty insightful.
Yeah.
He's written 2 books. I read one called Stupid Thing That I'm About to Do. I
haven't read that.
That's a really good book.
Yeah.
And he had the Chris Gethard Show, which was on True TV.
Yes.
And that's how I started getting into him. I watched a couple episodes of that, and I was like, this is incredible. And then I watched all of his YouTube backlog that he had from when it was on public access. And then that's how I got into watching Chris Gethard Presents. When that started, because he once it was canceled off of True TV, he went back to his time slot that he had on public access, and he decided, I'm just going to give it to my funny friends.
Right.
Give them a platform.
Right.
And one standout to me, which I think all of them were really good, but Mary Houlihan's Enchanted Pumice, how she approached a live show that you can call in.
Yeah.
I think she did an incredible job, and I was thinking we should start with that.
Yeah. So what Chris Gethard, he comes from that school of comedy where it's 2000s UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, alt comedy in New York. A lot of improv people came from there. Chris Gethard was in the movie, the 2016 movie Don't Think Twice, which is have you seen Don't Think Twice?
That's Mike Birbiglia's movie.
Yeah, written, directed, and starring Mike Birbiglia, where it's a improv comedy troupe in New York, and essentially they all get auditions for the universe's equivalent of Saturday Night Live. Did we just lose power?
Wow.
Oh, wow. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. We're still recording, though.
Ooh, spooky.
That was fun. Hold on, Jake.
What was that?
I don't know.
Am I scared?
You shouldn't be. It's the wind. Hold on. Watch this.
You gonna generator it?
No. I've got lights.
So we are still recording, eh?
Yeah, it's still recording.
Do you need the...
No, I don't think so.
anything?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh.
We're still recording.
We're gonna do this by lamplight?
Yeah, man.
This is crazy.
Spooky Christmas miracle.
I don't know. We're in the basement and the power cut off.
Oh, cut off in the whole house.
I know, but the basement's where you start killing and then you move your way up.
Oh, we're fine.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna follow a formula here, it's me and you first, buddy.
All right. Well, that was a fun little thing. I don't know if I'll leave this in or not.
I don't know.
It's windy here and the power just went out.
The power went out, but we got battery operated things.
Where's the battery on this?
Hopefully good.
I think it should be fully charged. Yeah, we're good. We're good. I don't know if we'll leave this in.
I don't know. So where do we start? When did we lose?
No, we didn't lose anything. It's still going.
Okay, so where do we start? Where would you
Chris
want to
Gethard.
start?
Okay, so...
Yeah. Okay, so the power is out.
My mojo's just a little thrown off. By
Yes.
All right.
That was wild. All right.
We'll see if it comes back on.
Yeah, the power's out.
So Chris Gethard does this talk show, or he does this public access show, hands it off to Mary Houlihan.
Yes.
This episode, I think, was a good one to start with. And I will say this. This recommendation was so Jake Baggett, it hurt.
Yeah, right?
Like, this is just...
It's incredible that I went this long without Chris Gethard being a part of my life like this.
And no, like, a lot of your recommendations have been this adjacent.
Yeah, I'll agree.
The co-host of Dr. Game Show was in this episode.
Yes.
Manolo.
Joe. Oh, yeah, Manolo was in there.
Yeah.
Joe Firestone shows up
Yeah.
in a couple of these.
So it's that alt comedy that you just love.
Yes.
So I could smell it from a mile away. I was just like, all right, this is big time Jake
Manolo
energy.
plays the ex-boyfriend.
Right. So the whole premise of this is it's a live stage play that's supposed to be like a soap opera.
Yes.
It's that kind of soap opera overacting. It's based around a massage parlor day spa called the Enchanted Pumice. So
That's already a great name.
yes, I mean, it's very good. Mary Houlihan talks about it, and I think the story is kind of secondary. It's very funny, and it's
about these quirky people, all these lovely actors that you get on there to do these wild things. Mary Houlihan plays a character. She keeps saying her age. I think she says she's 25.
she says she's 23 with six kids.
With 6 kids.
Yes.
And she's just trying to hold this job down.
Yeah, as a manager at a massage parlor.
Yeah.
So it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like I will say this particular episode from me, just based on that, it gets a 2 from me.
Nice.
A good 2.
Hell yeah.
I think the premise of it, because I didn't watch any of these fully, but I was just poking around. I'm like, okay, there's definitely something to this.
Yeah.
Chris Gethard presents though, and I have a couple marked on my YouTube queue that I want to go back and watch.
Sick. Good.
I think this is a good one for people to get into. Kind of what the vibe of this style of comedy is.
That's
if you
what I'm
don't
thinking.
think this is Chris Gethard's not in the fake show. He's in the fake call-in show afterwards,
Yes.
where
Talking Pum.
yeah, it's a parody of Talking Dead with Chris Hardwick. So very funny and very spot on send up of that type of show.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. Like, it gets a 2 for me. It's just I think this type, and one of the things was it was live. So you can tell kind of, I think they were playing it up a little bit, and you see people break character, and it's one of the things about live comedy. Like, watching someone break is always just funny.
Yeah.
And
it's the chaos of these types of things that I love.
Right.
Where even the reality of something, like one of my favorite parts is the throwing acid that they have. And the guy,
what the ex-boyfriend comes in, and he's gonna mess everyone's up, and he has a deli quart container that has a yellow liquid in it, and it just says, with like both of us had worked in kitchens, it's what you keep stuff in a supply room with a piece of masking tape on it that just said throwing acid.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite joke.
yeah,
of the whole thing.
Manolo left Mary Houlihan to pursue a career in competitive video games.
Right.
And he comes back and he's like, video games have taught me how to throw acid into people. And then the other guy, oh my gosh, I completely forgot his name. He comes out to thwart his plans by drinking all of the throwing acid into his iron stomach. He drinks so much. It has to be like half a liter.
It's a quart. It's a quart container.
Yeah, it's a quart.
Yeah.
And he just, you know that they had to talk before, and he's like, yeah, I can drink a quart, like, in one
It looks
one
like,
sitting.
if I had to guess, I would say it's probably yellow Gatorade.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
And you could tell that he was like, I can drink this quart, like, in one sitting. I could do it within, like, 10 seconds. So you're like, great, that'll be a good bit. And then you watch the reality of it, and everybody is cracking up while he's chugging down this Gatorade. That stuff is what I think is great.
Yeah.
You're creating these moments of chaos.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I think it definitely gets a thumbs up from me.
Nice.
Not a 3, because I think I've mentioned when we talked about Dr. Game Show, and my favorite type of this comedy, because you've recommended this type of comedy to me a couple times. My favorite one is probably still Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yeah. Okay.
But also Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, it wasn't live.
Yeah.
They had time to make those bits.
Now Garth Marenghi does travel with book readings and does QAs.
Right. I know you didn't recommend his book reading Q&A.
But I'm saying that I can see the parallelisms that you're making.
Right.
That these people thrive in these awkward, chaotic moments.
Yeah, I think it's just part of me. Whenever I see live comedy and whenever I see like errors, there's people. It's why I don't like Jimmy Fallon, is because sometimes I think he's just laughing
Yes.
Because him messing up gets a laugh. So everyone's just kind of like, oh, he's breaking character. He's like fucking smiling and being like, oh, and like, I hate that. And it's hard for me to take it seriously sometimes. I mean, it kind of puts me off. That's why I
get you.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about Jimmy Fallon, where I don't think he can handle this type of situation.
No.
When it's just like good jokes, but it feels like a lot of Chris Gethard presents, or just anything Chris Gethard does, is based around trying to get other people to break.
Yes.
You know? And that's what I think is really fun about it, and what brings out a lot of very creative comedy.
Yeah, and that's kind of a alt comedy thing. I mean, in improv, you're really trying to make the scene as funny as possible, and when you get one of your castmates to break, you're really showing a good bit of skill there. But everyone involved, I think, was really good. There is an Enchanted Pumice 2,
Yes.
which I haven't gotten a chance to watch yet. But I was shocked by Chris Gethard Presents. He only has 3.25K subscribers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh.
It died pretty quick
Yeah.
because this was like just before the pandemic.
Yeah, this one came out 3 years ago. So yeah, or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of like...
yeah, and only 36,000
Darn it.
views. I was just kind of like, oh, I would have expected more. But I guess that's kind of our bubble of being like, oh, these people don't know who Chris Gethard is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like Chris Gethard is, a big pool
Yeah.
in the comedy world, I would say, because he's clever and he does a great job. But yes, this stuff starts to become more and more underground.
Yeah.
And this is one of the big underground ones.
I saw him 2000, I think it was 17, just at the Village Underground in New York. We were up there, and Mike Birbiglia was on the show, and then afterwards at Joe's Pizza, Mike Birbiglia was talking to Chris Gethard, and I just saw Mike Birbiglia, and I was just like, hey,
Yeah.
good show, and I was like, Chris, you're great too, and he's like, oh, thank you, and he was just kind of had that look, where he's like, genuinely seemed like a nice guy. He was eating pizza and trying to talk to his friend, but I was just like, hey, I like you too. And I was just like, good guy.
That's my rule with celebrities is if I see you and I notice you, I'm going to tell you did a good job, and then I'm out of your life forever.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to ask for a picture.
Sorry, buddy.
I think every time I've taken a picture with someone famous, it's because I've paid for like the VIP thing.
And I get that.
Yeah.
That's why I only have a picture with Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, right?
Well, you have to have something to pass down in your will. It's going to be a picture of great grandpa with Bruce Campbell, who everyone's forgotten about.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
He
will live on.
He's got a new show out.
I know, with Ryan Reynolds' company.
Producing Maximum Effort.
I don't know what it comes on. What the hell is Maximum Effort?
I have no idea.
I can't find it.
Yeah. I keep seeing ads for it on Instagram. But
Yeah. On Twitter.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how to get to it.
On X.
Whatever.
Also, did you see who's back on X?
Back again.
Alex Jones is back.
That's so crazy.
From that movie you recommended. You love Alex Jones so much because he was in Waking Life that you recommended.
He was making such good points in Waking Life.
And things happened.
And then you just kind of fall down your own.
I will say this. I am really fucking distracted by watching you.
Huh.
In the lanterns.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why? I look good?
No, it's just, I think it's weird. I mean, I have to take a picture. Fucking, this episode was supposed to be so good.
It is good.
It was.
I'm having great time.
Oh, God damn it. This is supposed to be my Christmas episode.
We're doing great.
Yeah. So you got anything you want to add about Chris Gethard, or just recommend it to everybody?
Check out Chris Gethard Presents.
Yeah.
That's where I would say to start.
It's great comedy.
You're going to see faces in there. Like Carmen Christopher is somebody that I think is amazing.
Yeah. There's a lot of good alt comics
and
in this.
Is basically like a talk show when he takes over. But he's such a weird guy that I think it stands on its own to watch him cook.
Yeah.
As the youth says these days.
Yeah.
And I think expose yourself to this type of comedy. I think you're going to love it if you check it out.
Yeah. Speaking of comedy, did you see the Golden Globe nominations?
No.
They have a stand-up comedy for the first time. I just tried to Google that, and then I remembered that there's no internet.
There's no internet.
But there's still cell phone. So, yeah, let's take a little side boat in a comedy world.
Okay.
Let me just pull this up. Blah, blah, blah. So stand-up comedy is in there for the first times. And fuck. I have a lot of editing to do in this, Jacob.
Have you watched a lot of stand-up comedy this year?
I have. It's something I want to talk about on the next one. So essentially, so they put, for the first time in the Golden Globes, stand-up comedy specials as a category. The nominees are Chris Rock, Trevor Noah, Wanda Sykes, and Sarah Silverman.
Oh, God. That's it?
Yep.
Well, give it to Wanda Sykes and let's move on.
Oh, and Ricky Gervais, too, who you also love.
Oh,
and
God.
Amy Schumer.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
This is real?
Yeah.
Why? No, this is awful. Give it to Wanda Sykes and let's move on.
So
You said one funny name in that whole thing.
Chris Rock's was okay.
Chris Rock's was not okay.
No, it wasn't. There's so many better stand-up comedy specials. And I like Chris Rock.
I like Chris Rock.
I like Trevor Noah. And I like Ricky Gervais isn't even out yet. It comes out on Christmas. But
I'm not going to listen to it.
I think for the Golden Globes, since Golden Globes is done by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, I was not expecting a lot of comics that had put things out on YouTube to get nomination, because like there are some people like Matt McCusker put one out on YouTube, which is a great stand-up comedy special. There's been a couple good crowd work ones, but two people that were not nominated that I was shocked were not nominated was John Mulaney.
That was this year.
Yes.
Baby J.
Yes.
That was incredible.
Yeah. And then three other ones. Jim Gaffigan had one on Netflix, which I think is probably his best special.
Damn.
Called Dark Pale.
It's been a while since I listened to Jim Gaffigan.
Still funny. Mark Maron had a new one that was very good as well.
Oh, I hear great things about Mark Maron's
Mark Maron's
stand-up.
And Nate Bargatze, who for my money is one of the best joke
Nate Bargatze's
writers.
was this year too, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and Tom Segura had a good one out. Gary Goldman has one coming out next week, which I'm going to love to see because I love Gary Goldman.
This is crazy.
But I was just like, I didn't know Amy Schumer had a special this year. And I'm not one of those people that bags on Amy Schumer, but I mean, she's not super duper funny.
There was a comedy account on Twitter that pretended to do a breaking news that Amy Schumer's in the hospital because she tried to do a cartwheel and landed on her neck. It's horrible. And all the comments were
good.
Ew.
And another YouTube one that came out that we talked about was Big J. Okerson had his first big comedy special on YouTube.
That guy tells a good story.
He does. His special's called Dog Belly. I'll talk about it in our wrap-up episode, but there's a lot of good comedy out there. I was just shocked that John Mulaney was not nominated.
Yeah,
I figured that would be like the shoe-in one.
That's unbelievable.
I couldn't tell you a single Trevor Noah joke.
I am out of Trevor Noah. I'm out.
Yeah, you're done with it all. All right,
this is why I'm out of stand-up. Did you hear that lineup?
Yeah.
Wanda Sykes is still hilarious.
She's hilarious.
I haven't even seen her special, but I know it's better than all of those.
Probably. I mean,
I'm going to watch them all just so that I feel vindicated.
Jesus, please don't do that. All right, so let's get into my recommendation for Jake. It's a miracle. And the power is going to come right back on as soon as we start talking about Ben Affleck.
Yeah. It's not coming back.
God damn it.
Yeah. This is war. This is war times now.
This is an awkward fucking podcast.
We lost our power. Mm-hmm. I still got gas in my car. I can go anywhere.
All right, so we are talking about the 2000 film Reindeer Games. Anybody that's listening to this podcast, especially in the month of April, knows that Ben Affleck is my favorite actor.
Man, that movie came out in 2000, huh?
Yep, sure did.
Wow.
And the film Reindeer Games, I believe, like I said earlier, should be in the pantheon of movies talked about to watch on Christmas, specifically for people in our age group, because it's not a kid's movie. This movie is rated R, and it goes full rated R.
You know why I know about this movie?
Because you're an internet weirdo, and you knew that Charlize Theron was topless in it.
MrSkin.com. Do you remember Mr. Skin?
I called that from a mile away.
You go to Mr. Skin, and he's like, check out this Charlize Theron.
So, let's talk Reindeer Games. Merry Affleck Christmas, everybody. Hope you have power. So, the plot behind this movie is Ben Affleck is in prison in Michigan. It does not look like a fun prison. He's supposed to get out. He's talking with his cellmate. His name is Rudy. His cellmate's name is Nick. Rudolph, Nicholas, very Christmassy names. It's just fantastic on so many levels. So 3 days before they're supposed to get out, a guy gets released from solitary confinement. Ben Affleck believes that guy thinks that he's the reason he's in solitary confinement. He's like, oh, it's a guy named the Alamo. And he's like, oh, the Alamo is going to get me. There's a fight in the dining hall, and the Alamo is about to stab Ben Affleck. He stabs Ben Affleck's friend, Nick. Nick goes away. And Warden comes in and says, Nick's dead.
Nick is dead.
Nick
he
has
had
been
2
talking,
days left. He's dead. And he even has a speech before.
He does.
Because like an hour before he dies, he's like, look, I'm getting out of here in 2 days.
Nick has been writing through the prison pen pal system this girl, Ashley. And he's like, Ashley's going to meet me here. Then we're going to hole up in this hotel room.
Yep.
She's going to meet me here. And Ben Affleck, I'm not going to call him Rudy. He's Ben Affleck. So Ben Affleck's like, hey, you sure she looks like this? Yada, yada, yada. He sees all these pictures. The pictures of Charlize Theron. What are the odds your prison pen pal, Charlize Theron? Not great.
Yeah.
But Rudy is released, and he sees Charlize Theron there. And then he's getting on the bus. And he just says, don't do it, Rudy.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
And bus stops. Ben Affleck gets off. He goes to Charlize Theron, says, I'm Nick.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I
Perfect
guess.
Start to a movie. Goes from there. They're hooking up. They're living in the hotel room. Charlize Theron takes her shirt off, like Jake has already pointed out.
Yeah.
And then, plot twist number 1 of several. Ben Affleck opens the door and he gets hit in the stomach. There's a group of criminals there, led by Gary Sinise, featuring Donald Logue and Danny Trejo.
Yeah. And Gary Sinise, his nickname is Monster.
It is Monster.
And Donald Logue, I love him.
Yes.
He is so weird in this movie because he's like, Monster, he keeps fighting this monster.
So
he's like a typical thug.
Yes, and the thugs' nicknames are Monster, Merlin, Jumpy, and Pug. Great. So they are going to kidnap Ben Affleck, who they believe is Nick, because he used to work at a casino, and they're going to rob the casino.
Yep.
So then the movie
Give me
takes
all
off.
your inside information, Nick, so we can rob this casino.
Because there's no one there on Christmas, and you say there's about $5 million in the safe.
Yeah.
And turns out Gary Sinise is Charlize Theron's brother.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
At least for plot twist number 1. So I love this movie.
Yeah.
I love this movie unironically. I love it in the way that I love Phantoms. Not because it's just Ben Affleck. I think this movie is made better by Ben Affleck being there. I think it's made better by Lieutenant Dan being there.
Yeah.
I think there's no one in this. Oh, and also Isaac Hayes is in this for 1 second.
Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes, he was the voice of Chef.
Yes. Isaac Hayes was there.
He was in the prison.
They put monsters in the food.
There's monsters in the gelatin.
Yeah.
Great line. There are so many lines
Ashton Kutcher is in this movie.
Ashton Kutcher is in this movie for a minute. There are so many lines from this movie.
This is the second Ashton Kutcher movie that you've asked me to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
I think this is the Ashton Kutcher thing that you got going, not a Ben Affleck thing.
What month could we do Ashton Kutcher in?
Ashton Kutcher, April.
No, that's all Affleck, April.
I'm saying.
Regardless, we're not here
I'm
to
seeing what's happening.
We're not here to talk about Ashton Kutcher. So, my whole point in getting you to watch this, and my point for getting everyone to watch this, is there are movies that are talked about to watch around Christmas. One of the best things you could do if you want to make money for the rest of your life is to make a Christmas movie or write a Christmas song. Mariah Carey makes tens of $millions every year just for the Christmas song. It's a meme at this point. If you make a good Christmas album,
Like
people
Michael
will...
Bublé.
Yeah, you'll get... Or what's his name? Josh Groban or anyone like that.
Yeah.
Everyone puts out a Christmas album. Tom Petty has a Christmas song.
Yeah.
It's not a great song.
Well, it's Christmas.
Exactly.
Again.
Hey, don't make Tom Petty write in and tell you that you're not allowed to do his voice anymore.
You don't want to hear from Tom Petty's
If
estate.
Tom Petty's ever going to be a guest on this, it will be right now. We're going to summon him because we're doing this podcast by fucking lantern light in the darkness. God, it's creepy down here. Anyway, this movie is not talked about, even in joking form. I never hear anyone be like, oh, we should watch Reindeer Games, because it's just written off.
Yeah.
There's a great campiness to this movie that I thought you would appreciate. I wasn't going to recommend this movie until you said you liked Phantoms. I've known this was going to be my Christmas rec since back in the last week of April when you really liked Phantoms. Because it's great, pure, uncut, black tar Ben Affleck, chewing the scenery, being fantastic. Gary Sinise is a crazy person.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron's acting her ass
The
off.
acting caliber in this movie is incredible.
Dennis Farina's in it as well as the owner of the casino.
Yes.
And he's great too.
Again, another great choice and a great performance.
Yes.
Great performances all around.
Yes.
They flesh out the thugs more than was ever needed. That brings a character to this movie that you could tell that so much they made the hell out of this movie. There was production out the wazoo. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you listened last week, you know I gave Jake a physical copy of this. Did you watch the behind the scenes?
No, I didn't.
There's a behind the scenes featurette. You should watch that.
Why would I watch it? Oh my gosh.
So the moment I've been waiting for since the end of April. On a scale of 1 to 3, like we do on this show. Jake, what do you give Reindeer Games?
Buddy, it's a 2.
It's a 2?
It's a 2.
Oh, I thought I had you on
I
this.
thought it was going to be a 1. I would say. Because, like you said, nobody talks about this movie.
No.
I thought it was going to be a forgettable movie.
It's not.
It's not.
You're never going to forget
There's
this movie.
so much fun to be had with this movie.
Lieutenant Dan torches him with darts.
But, yes, and he hates it. Ben Affleck hates getting hit with darts. When they have that moment with Charlize Theron.
So many darts.
When Charlize Theron's taking off his shirt and he's like, ow, ow. I'm like, man up. But then, like, that's his character. Rudy isn't strong or, like, manly. He's a complaining little guy.
Right.
But he's sniveling and rat-like, so he gets his way out of stuff.
We're going to go full spoilers on this movie because everyone should watch it.
Yes.
Jake gives it a 2. I give it a 6.5. And so plot twist number 1 is Rudy takes over Nick's persona.
Yeah.
Plot twist number 2.
That's not plot twist. That's the plot.
Okay, well, that's the
plot
first
twist
part.
number 1 is Charlize Theron and Gary Sinise.
Right. So when Rudy is trying to tell him that he's not Nick, and then sometimes he is, and it kind of loses the thread in the middle of who knows that he's not really Nick and who
they
isn't.
kind of get confused by themselves.
Yeah.
Because there's even a part where Donald Logue is like, that's not Nick.
Yeah.
He's like, you weren't there, and he was explaining to Charlize Theron, Ashley.
Yeah.
He was explaining to Ashley that he's not Nick. He's like, why would he do that if he wasn't Nick? And then they're like, let's kill him. He's like, no, I'm Nick. So then he was like, and then he would do something.
Right.
And they're like, what are you doing, man? And he's like, I keep trying to tell you I'm not Nick. He's like, well, then we're going to kill you. He's like, actually, I'm Nick.
So Ben Affleck eventually kind of comes around and he's talking to Charlize Theron and she's like, no, my brother's crazy. I told you, I fear my brother, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, all right, well, you got to get me more involved in this heist. Then we can rob them.
Yeah.
And then you and I can just leave. And then it turns out that Charlize Theron had told Gary Sinise about this, and they're not brother and sister. Ben Affleck walks in on them in the pool at the hotel they're staying at, and they're just full on making out.
Yes.
So now Ben Affleck,
They're lovers.
he knows the jig is up. So he's like, all right, got to do something about this. Casino heist happens. We forgot to mention, this movie opens with 4 dead Santa bodies in the snow, and you don't know who's who, but you know some Santas are going to die. And they rob the casino dressed as Santa. Nice touch. Did you ever see 3,000 Miles to Graceland?
No, but that is Elvis's.
They rob a casino dressed as Elvis's. Robbing things in costumes, always good. This movie, Heat, 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Haven't seen Heat yet.
They dress up like former
Wanna
presidents.
see it.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Point Break, sir.
Oh, I am thinking of Point Break.
Thinking of Point Break.
Yeah. Well, robbery and masks
great
is
movie.
fun.
Yes.
They do it in Baby Driver.
Haven't seen that.
Great joke in Baby Driver. They're supposed to get, the guy says, I want you to go buy Michael Myers masks from like Halloween, and they all wear Michael Myers masks.
Groovy baby.
He shows up with Austin Powers masks. Hilarious bit. I digress.
Groovy baby.
They rob the casino. It's just Gary Sinise, Charlize Theron, and Ben Affleck still alive. Dennis Farina has a great line where he's shooting people out of the powwow safe, and he says, hey, Santa Claus, welcome to the tomahawk, and then just starts spraying people with gunfire. It's not a great gunfight. It's very campy and slapsticky.
It's kind of fun to watch him slowly die, and his face is in agony, shooting 2 machine guns at the same time. He really plays it, man.
Ben Affleck's got a squirt gun full of rum, and a guy lights up a cigarette, and he just sets him on fire.
He caught on fire so fast.
You're getting close.
So much.
You're getting close to a 3, remembering how great this movie was.
He was on fire.
He was on so much fire.
Immediately.
Yes.
Because the guy had the drop on him. He had the gun on Ben Affleck, and he's like, I want to enjoy this cigarette before I do that. And
after he lit 85
hold that Zippo right there, buddy. Well, I spray it down with some liquor.
So, plot twist number next. Ben Affleck is going.
They're going to.
They've got
set
the
it
money.
Up.
They've got the money.
Yeah.
This is after the casino heist, and they're going to set up Ben Affleck as the last fall guy.
Yep.
They have Gary Sinise drives a big rig. We haven't mentioned that yet. He's a trucker, and they're like, we're going to kill him. We're going to leave his body at the bottom of this ravine, drive the car off a cliff.
Throw some money on him. They're
Right.
going to think he burned up with money.
They're going to leave with the rest of the money.
He was the last of the surviving Santa Clauses.
Uh-huh.
He ran away, but then he drove off a cliff and died. So
Charlize, and then there's the cliche thing where someone fucks up because Charlize Theron says something. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna let some guy get stabbed for you, and this is how you repay him."
Yeah,
he's like, "I never said I."
Yeah, Nick takes a shiv for you, and this is how you repay him. And
I never said he got shivved.
Yeah, he's like, no, he's like, I said he died. I never said how.
And then she backpedals so poorly, just be like, "No, you did."
Yeah.
Like
there's
she's
like
a toddler that got caught
of them
in the
being
lie.
like, "Yes, you did."
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. And then she just goes bang and shoots Gary Sinise.
So Gary Sinise is dead now. Turns out, last plot twist,
Nick's alive.
Nick's alive the whole time.
I'm Nick and I'm here.
Charlize Theron isn't Ashley. She's Nick's girlfriend that they vaguely mentioned that he's in jail because some guy was hitting on her at a bar and he put him in. It was involuntary manslaughter or something like that.
He killed a guy at a bar protecting his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Well, defending his girlfriend's,
right.
I don't know.
Honor.
I guess. Honor, I suppose.
Let's say honor.
Yeah. And then he was like, hey, while I'm in the clink, why don't you find out how to rob some people?
Exactly.
Toots. And she's like, whatever you say.
So she entraps Gary Sinise and goes double agent on Gary Sinise. Be like, oh, I'll pretend to be your sister. But she was pretending to be his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And Nick was pretending to be dead.
Yeah.
And Ben Affleck's caught in the middle of this whole scheme.
They had, he was a part of this scheme from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it's so confusing. Ben Affleck is even like, how? He's like, how did you think that this would work? And he's like, dude, if it didn't work, she could just split. She could just run away.
Yeah. And so they are Nick and Ashley, not really Ashley.
Yeah.
At the end, they're like, all right, now we're going to kill Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And they put him behind the wheel of the car. And then Ben Affleck says, rule number 1.
Yeah.
Never put the car thief behind the wheel of the car.
Yeah.
And then he runs over this.
And then he puts it in reverse.
Throws it in reverse. Backs him up against the trailer. And then
Nick puts it in drive.
Runs over Charlize Theron and drives it off a cliff.
And then he jumps out of the car so that the car falls down the cliff. Oh.
It's so bad.
And then Nick, with his legs broken in the back of the semi, he's all like, hey, I was going to kill that bitch anyway. And we could have been partners. Hey, how about that?
He's
and he
wedged against the wall of a tractor trailer. He's still trying to, we can still make this work.
And then he closes the doors on him and backs the semi off of the cliff.
Only time there was bad CGI in this movie. It was in the 2000s. I think there were some great squib effects. There was some bad slow motion and stuff like that. But this movie didn't look dated until the semi-truck rolls off the cliff because it's very clearly like a PlayStation 1 semi-truck going off a cliff.
My thing was, I'm pretty sure that the semi growls while it's driving.
I hadn't noticed that.
At one point, when they're establishing that the gang transports by the semi,
right,
and you just see it on the road, and I'm pretty sure you're hearing it growl like a monster.
Yeah,
and then you hear it growl while it's blowing up.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is insane.
Movie ends with Ben Affleck walking back to his parents' house.
Yep, he has the money from the heist, and he's just putting it in mailboxes as he walks down.
Just like a weird Santa Claus.
Just like being a good Santa Claus.
Yeah.
He's not a good guy. Hasn't been a good guy
no.
from the get-go.
No. He starts out by lying and having
He
intercourse with a
wanted to
woman
have
under false
sex
pretenses.
with a woman, so he lies to her about who he is.
Yep.
And then he's like, nah, I'm gonna tell her after the new year. I want to tell her, hey, I want to I've had sex with you a lot, but I am not the man who you think you.
Yes,
I am.
And that is kind of funny. Where he tells Gary Sinise at the very beginning, he says, "I'm not Nick. My name's Rudy." And Gary Sinise just says, "So you're lying about who you say you were, and you were lying to have sex with my sister. Yeah, and you think this is a better idea?"
Yeah, that's my favorite part of this whole thing is that whole exchange. He's like, "I'm not Nick. Then we'll kill you. I'm Nick."
Yeah.
It happens like 3 times. Yeah. And each time it's hilarious.
Goes back and forth.
Yeah, because they're like, he's like, "I don't know anything about the casino. I never worked there." And he's like, "Well, then we'll kill you." He's like, "But I do know something about the casino."
Then they look at the map and it's like, they've completely rearranged everything. And then they go to the casino and they ask where the waitress is. Like, what'd they do the remodel? It's like, we've never remodeled this place. And he's like, oh, well, now we should kill him. And they're like, wait, don't kill me.
Yeah. The way he mouses his way through is pretty fun.
Yeah.
This movie's really fun.
Yes.
It's wild that it's not spoken in the pantheon of Christmas movies.
I will say this before we get into the Christmas movie thing, because I did this in All Affleck April. Best Affleck line delivery.
Which one?
When he always says, what is the first thing you're going to do when you get out of prison? He's like, I'm going to have some hot chocolate, some pecan pie.
Oh my gosh. That
and he tells
was
Gary Sinise,
so
he says,
rough.
I want some goddamn hot chocolate and some pecan fucking pie. And then he gets it. And then Gary Sinise slams his head into a table.
My favorite is where they keep trying to talk to him and he keeps putting his finger up like 1 second while he's eating the pecan pie.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
God, it's okay. So you're having a Christmas party with adult friends. No kids are there. I know you're a big fan of putting something on in the background.
Yeah.
Christmas themed party. What are the odds you're putting on Reindeer Games and be like, hey guys,
if they want to watch a Christmas movie, this would be something.
Reindeer Games is great for an adult Christmas movie. And also, I will say this: I know a bunch of people will say Die Hard's the best Christmas movie.
No,
Bruce Willis has come out and said Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
It's a tired joke at this point.
Yeah,
this movie's a Christmas movie.
It is.
This movie
is a great movie,
a Christmas themed movie. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It runs on the fact that it is Christmas.
At one point, Gary Sinise says the title of the movie too. He's like, "I read your letters. Don't play no reindeer games with me." He always calls him convict too.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Gary Sinise is great.
He's chewing the fuck out of the theater.
Oh my god,
he got sick of people seeing him as Lieutenant Dan. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go fucking nuts.
So I'm gonna grow my hair out and have a beard and look exactly like him.
It's such a and also the music in this movie was written by Alan Silvestri, who's a very famous composer. He wrote all the Avengers movies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the caliber is there.
Yes.
It's just, this was, I could see why this movie would be forgotten because they don't make film like this anymore.
No.
Where it's just balls to the wall. They want you leaving going, what the hell just happened?
Exactly.
And something like this doesn't occur anymore.
No.
Doesn't occur as often.
No.
And it'll probably be a movie that I will see again.
Yes.
But when I go over the Affleck movies that I've seen this year, is it better than Phantoms? No.
No, I don't think it's better than Phantoms.
Phantoms is awesome.
Yeah.
Phantoms kicks ass.
Yeah.
You know?
Would you rank it up there with Argo?
No.
I think Phantoms was probably your favorite out of all
Phantoms
Affleck April.
is my style.
Yeah.
You know. So this is closer to what I enjoy. Mm-hmm. But Phantoms is a movie that has Ben Affleck and like an entire studio punching above its weight.
Right.
And just creating something that they had no business trying to create.
I
and
think
just pulling it out.
I think more people need to see Reindeer Games.
Yes, I would agree with that.
It's fantastic.
I would agree with that.
So, thank you for watching Reindeer Games. Thank
you for Reindeer Games, man.
It's
nice to have that on my shelf.
It's nice to have that in your repertoire of references you can make.
Yeah.
Like if you tell someone, or if someone were to say, I want some goddamn hot chocolate and some pecan fucking pie, you can look at me, Reindeer Games. Like, and also, who doesn't want those things? Those things are fantastic.
I just like Danny Trejo. I think he does a great performance. And he only has one big line in it where he's just saying, December is where 50% of retail is done. And
Oh, yeah.
for the year. And he's like, so they should have Christmas 2 sometime in April or May just to spread out the economy.
Yeah.
And the other guy goes, man, ever since you started night school, you've been hard to talk
It's
to.
a weird little character note.
Yeah.
That Danny Trejo, this gun-running criminal,
The
also is going to
side-
night school and talking about economics
The
and stuff.
side stories that they're having, the guy was like, so they gave them a synthetic tongue, so now he can talk. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
It's just a small conversation that they're having. I'm like, holy shit, what are they talking about?
This movie's great. It holds up. Everyone watch Reindeer Games.
Movie's really good.
All right. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for putting up with the interruptions tonight. I'm going to leave it in. Fuck it. I don't care. It's Christmas. Everyone can peek behind the curtain for Christmas. Be sure to send us an email, which I can't check right now, upyouralleypod@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on Spotify and YouTube and all the good things. Be sure to rate the show, give it 5 stars. Be sure to tell your friends. Thank you, everyone who's done it for another good, well, the first official full calendar year of the Up Your Alley podcast.
Damn.
It's been fucking fun. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to be getting into next week. Jake, what do you got for me?
I have one more YouTube video for
All right.
you, my brother.
Let's go for
It's from a channel called Defunct Land.
Defunct Land.
Defunct Land. Specifically his...
FUNCT, not funk.
Yeah,
Like they-
Funked.
not
yeah,
they- not like-
FUNCT.
They didn't
Defunct
take the
Land.
funk away.
And he's got a video where he talks about finding the guy who made the Disney Channel jingle.
Defunct Land Disney.
Yeah.
Defunct Land. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Disney Channel theme, a history mystery,
Yeah.
1 hour and 31 minutes.
It's a straight up documentary.
Wow.
This thing redefined what I would consider art.
So this, just from the jump, kind of reminds me of the H-Bomber guy. I watched that Minecraft Oof
Yeah.
thing that you recommended. Is it sort of like that?
No. This
Really?
is this is like a,
Investigative report?
yes.
Kind of like we watched Finding Yeezus?
Yes.
That sort of thing?
Yes.
Huh.
It's a lot more in tune of Finding Yeezus.
That was Alistair Tremblay Birchall and the Grouse House Boys that did that.
The caliber of work that went into making that video is unprecedented.
So Defunct Land, it's called Disney Channel theme, a history mystery. That's available on youtube.com?
Yeah.
.com? Okay. So I will be watching that. Jake, I have something for you. That full disclosure, it is released on the day this podcast comes out.
Yeah.
Actually, the 21st. It is available on Netflix. It is the new Zack Snyder movie.
Oh my God, you're making me watch Rebel Moon?
Yeah, because you're not going to watch it otherwise, and I want to talk
Holy
about it,
shit.
and I want to watch it. And also, it's not called Rebel Moon. It's called Rebel Moon - Part 1: A Child of Fire.
This is
You're
something crazy, dog.
Yeah, I know.
This
I don't
is
care.
wild.
I want to talk about it.
Holy.
Have you watched the trailers for Rebel Moon?
I thought Rebel Moon already came out like 2 years ago and was already panned
No.
by both critics and audience alike.
No, it hasn't been panned by critics and audience alike yet. But this is another thing that I kind of want to go up on, like I did with Reindeer Games. Even sight unseen, I might come back next week and be like, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
But I think Zack Snyder is another person that gets kind of a bad rap sometimes.
I think he is bad as a director.
Well, a year ago, you thought Ben Affleck was a bad actor.
But I've seen a lot of Zack
Right.
Snyder's stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, it's the new Zack Snyder sci-fi thing.
I think this is one of his. This is going to be like, what was that one movie? That was like his Matrix, Bubblegum, Girls.
Sure.
Shucks, it's where girls could dance, and in the dancing they go into a fantasy world.
Girls can dance?
Yes,
Oh.
and it takes place in an insane asylum.
Oh, fuck. What was that called?
Yeah,
Oh, shit. Hold on.
yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but
He did
he did movies that I do enjoy, like
300.
300's fine.
300's great. What are you talking about?
300's pretty
It's
okay.
called Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. Why Bubblegum Girl?
I don't know. That's kind of a
weird.
weird thing. So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about the finding the Disney Channel theme documentary available on YouTube from the channel Defunctland, and watch Rebel Moon. Jake, thanks for sticking through the Power Edge with me. I love you, buddy.
I love you, buddy.
All right, bye.
Bye.